Hello, this is Kevin from MintyGuides.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at getting started with HTML coding. So we're going to talk about a few different HTML elements in this video. We're going to talk about the paragraph element, we're going to talk about headings, the horizontal rule, and we're also going to talk about setting certain text styles and using the align attribute in our HTML code. So first thing we're going to need to write our HTML code is some type of HTML editor. Now HTML editors are basically text editors with syntax highlighting. That means that they kind of help us with our code to make it makes the code look prettier, nicer, colorized when we're editing it. The two programs that I would recommend you use are either Atom Editor, which is kind of similar to the paid Sublime Text program. Atom's the one that I'm going to be using. You can get this program from atom.io. It is a simple HTML editor. It also works with all different types of code, but I like using it for HTML. The other option is Notepad++, which is a very popular code editor, which also works with HTML, PHP, CSS, all the standard web document formats. Between the two, I would say Atom is the more modern looking one. It's also a little bit more bulky. It's a little slower when you're using it. Notepad++ is definitely the faster of the two, and it's better to use Notepad++ maybe if you're working on a system that is not very powerful or something like that. But I'm going to be using Atom for this video. So first of all, what is HTML? Well, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And it's a markup language. That means we're going to be using some type of markup in the form of tags to kind of generate a certain output. So we use these markup tags, and they're all surrounded by angle brackets. You can see here, this is a sample of HTML code where we're going to create, this is the HTML code for a paragraph of text, and the paragraph tag is P, so we have this kind of open and close brackets around this P, and then we have our paragraph between the brackets, and then we have a closing tag where we have this kind of like backslash P. All tags look the same in HTML, and the general format is pretty simple. We'll have the opening tag that looks like that, and then we'll have a closing tag with the backslash in it. The general structure of an HTML file will look something like this. So this is a sample index.html file, and now the index.html file is the home page, basically the root thing that gets loaded when someone visits a website. So if we have an index.html file in our website's main directory, that means that the index.html file will be loaded automatically when we access that particular directory. So index.html or whatever is basically kind of like our home page. So at the top, we declare it as an HTML document. So we're saying this is an HTML document, doctype HTML. And then we have these open and closing HTML tags. So that means that everything between the opening and closing HTML tag is all HTML. We have our header, which is at the top. And in our head, we have our head tag and our ending head tag. And in the head, this is where we put information such as the title of the page. We also load scripts and things in here maybe. So if you have JavaScript or something that you're loading, you'd put that in the header. And we'll get into that later, but for now, we just have our head. We have our title with an opening and closing title tag, and the title of this page will be My First Web Page. Now the title tag indicates that this is the title of the page, and it is what is displayed in the browser at the top of the screen. So if we were to load this index.html file in a web browser, it would say My First Web Page at the top of the screen. The body, we have the opening and closing body tags, and this is where the bulk of the HTML goes. The body is where we put all the HTML that displays our page. So this is a very small page. In our body, we just have a heading, H1, that's heading level 1, H1. So we're going to have a heading that says welcome to my website, and then we're going to have a paragraph that says this is a test website, thank you for visiting. So let's go ahead and let's just copy and paste this into a new HTML document. So let me go to my Atom editor. So I'm going to open up Atom here. And I probably have some other stuff loaded here, so let me just close out of all that. So we're going to close that. I don't need this, remove. Okay, so we're going to have a new file, and we're just going to paste that code in there, and we're going to save it. I'm just going to save it to my desktop as index.html. So now we have our index.html file, and you can see that Atom has kind of like color coded everything for us. And if I click on a tag, like right now I have the HTML tag clicked on, you can see that it shows us where the closing tag is too. It underlines both the opening tag and the closing tag. Same goes for any other tag I click on. So that way I can kind of see what I'm working with, what area I'm working in. So we save that. And now we can open that HTML file with the web browser. So let's go ahead and open that using Edge is what I'm using. So I open that HTML file, and you can see welcome to my website. That is the heading, that H1 tag. This is a website, thank you for visiting. That's a paragraph generated with that paragraph tag. And at the top here it says my first web page. And if you remember, that was taken from the title tag under in the head section where it says my first web page. So that's the basic structure of a very simple HTML document. Now let's see what I'm going to discuss next. So yeah, we have our title, we have our heading, we have our paragraph, and you can modify the code. So let's say we wanted to add another paragraph. We would just go into the body section, create another p tag. This is another paragraph of text, and we have our closing paragraph tag. If we go back to Edge and we refresh that file, we can see another paragraph of text was added. And you can also see we have our heading 1, H1. So logically, what do you think an H2 tag will do, a heading 2? Well, it's quite straightforward with headings. They just get smaller as you increment the numbers. So this is a heading 2, H, and then we'll have this is a heading 3. And let's save and refresh that. So we save that file, we refresh it, and you can see that was a heading 1 at the top, welcome to my website. This is a heading 2, this is a heading 3. And you can see that each time the headings get a little smaller. So depending on how it's stylized, our headings generally start from smallest is H1 to, or largest is H1 to smallest as we keep going up in numbers. Okay? We discussed paragraphs. The next thing I want to talk about is how we can italicize and make text bold. To do that, we can go to our paragraph of text here. So let's go back to our Atom editor, and we can say, let's just add another line. So we'll create another paragraph. This is another paragraph with an italicized word. I hope I spelled that right. I'm not totally sure. And let's see, let's just make the word italicized. So to do that, we'll use the EM tag. That stands for emphasis. So we're going to have an emphasis on this word. And emphasis, when we do that, it adds, generally emphasis means italicized. So you can see italicized word, that word there, it got italicized. Now, depending on how the document is styled, we're going to talk about this in other guides, but it might not always make it italicized. That's just generally how it works. We could really change the style of the style sheet to make the EM tag show whatever we want. It could be a bold word, it could be a bigger word, it could be whatever. But in general, the EM tag will make your text italicized. Let's go back to Atom, and we're going to do the same. This is another paragraph with a bold word, and we're going to have bold. And to make bold text, we use the tag strong. So bold word, so strong /P. So we have our opening and our closing paragraph tag, and we have the word encompassed by this strong tag. And when we use strong, what does that do? That makes the text bold, so it makes it look strong, fierce, roar. And you can see here when we look at it in the browser, this is another paragraph with a bold word, and the word was made bold this time. So that's how you make text italicized with the EM tag, the emphasis tag, or bold with the strong tag. And there's another example. We have H1 through H6 headings, and that's just how headings look, heading 1 through heading 6. And like I said before, they get smaller each time. The next tag we're going to talk about is the horizontal rule tag, and this is a tag that doesn't have to have a close to it, so we don't have two involved. We only have to use the one tag to do a horizontal rule, and a horizontal rule is basically just a straight line that separates areas. So let's say after our second heading here, we want to have a straight line go through the middle of the page. So we have a tag, HR, that stands for horizontal rule, do a backslash, and we close the tag. So when we do this, we don't have to have a separate like HR and a opening HR tag and a closing HR tag, because the horizontal rule, it doesn't contain anything. It's just a straight line, so there's no need to have that extra space there. So when we go to our test site, we refresh the page, and between heading 2 and heading 3, you can now see there's a giant straight line going through the middle of the page, so that is our horizontal rule there. And the final thing I want to touch on in this video is attributes. So attributes allow us to add extra information to our HTML tags to further customize them. So one attribute that we might use a lot is the align attribute. This allows us to align text to be left, right, or center. So if we go to our Atom and we start editing some text here, so we say this, so let's make a paragraph, and this is a paragraph that is normal. So we're going to have a normal paragraph. Then we create another one. And this is a paragraph aligned right. And we're going to add we only add it under the first part of the tag. So P, we add a space. And we say align equals right. And that'll align it to the right. And then we have P align left. This is a paragraph align left. And finally, we're going to have centered. So P align equals center, and we use quotes around the actual attribute. So this is a centered paragraph /P. We save that. Now let's go ahead, go back to the web browser. We're going to refresh that page again. And as you can see, we have our paragraphs here. This is a paragraph aligned to the right. This is a paragraph aligned to the left. This is a paragraph that is normal, so you can see by default it is aligned to the left, and this is a centered paragraph. So that is how we use the align attribute with our paragraph. You could also use it with headers or other things if you wanted to. The align attribute applies to a few different elements, and we're going to talk about some more attributes in later videos. Alright, so that's the basics of how we do HTML coding. It's pretty much a matter of picking out which tag to use to create our content, and then structuring it appropriately using an HTML editor. Writing HTML code is fairly simple once you get the hang of it. You just need to learn all the different tags, alright? So thanks for watching and take care.